We've talked about energy clearing. One other thing, you can imagine standing in a shower of light. Just imagine, turning a knob and turning on this shower of divine light, like this liquid light that is going to just pour down over top of you and just cleanses and washes away everything inside and out, all the way down. And you can just close your eyes and imagine it pouring over the tops of your head and washing everything, and just seeing all the dross and all the yuckiness cleared out from every inch of you and washed down into the earth until you are completely clean and you are now filled with that light as well. You could do that probably in 20, 30 seconds really nicely and thoroughly, but it's a wonderful way to get clean and clear and filled back up.
That sounds incredible. I think you mentioned you have a recording of being guided through that, don't you? Called the Waterfall of Light.
Yes, I was thinking I need to create something specifically to help people to go through all of these different parts. And then I realized I did create that already. And it is called the Waterfall of Liquid Light. And it is a combination of a bunch of different techniques and aspects of things that I recommend bringing in that covers the cleansing and the clearing and conscious releasing and centering and grounding. And what it is, it incorporates Empyrean bowls that are tuned to a perfect fifth. And I will talk about the perfect fifth here in just a moment. The channeled vocalization. And then I guide you through a visualization meditation where you're walking through the forest and you get to this place and you step into this waterfall of liquid light, and it guides you through releasing and letting go of all of these things and filling. And I think it takes about maybe 15 to 20 minutes. But one of the things I really like about it is that you can be guided through that, because sometimes visually doing these things for ourselves can be hard. If you're not really used to doing this kind of stuff, it can be very easy to get distracted and overwhelmed and being like, oh, this isn't something I can do. But if you can just lay there and listen to this and be guided through and have the time to really experience it, then after you've done this several times, it becomes a place that's familiar to you. It is a place that really exists in the collective consciousness, because there are also a lot of other people who have been led through this and gone to this space. And then you can return to it on your own when you have a minute or two. You can just imagine walking yourself down that path, stepping into this waterfall, and it will feel like a familiar thing, like a memory of a favorite place that you went to in your childhood or something like that. And you can connect with that more and more quickly every time you do it, to where it'll become to where you don't have to have 20 minutes to lay down and go through this whole thing. It creates that space for you. You learn it, you learn the feeling of it. And you also have the benefit of the sound healing, of all of the energetic support in that, because there's a lot of Reiki and divine energy. The goddess of the sweet waters, Oshun, offered her healing in that as well. So you have her support, all of the energetic support, the channeled music, the perfect fifths, and the visualization. And that makes it so much easier. It provides all the scaffolding that you need in order to help you get there. And once you've gotten there and you've built all of the energetic pathways, the mental pathways, it makes it much easier to return to that. And it's something you could do every evening, like before bed, would be a really wonderful thing. And it checks all the boxes. And then at the end, just intend that you are holding that space of light and radiating it, and that is your space, and that only love may enter. And you will have really checked all of the energetic hygiene things with that. And so I've been experimenting with the best way of getting it to you. And I think the best way is going to be for you to go to the website, and we can put a link in the show notes. I'll have a place where you can go on there and be able to access that and have it it will probably be emailed to you, but my idea is to be able to have it so that you can download it and keep it with you so that you can have it on your phone or something and you can be able to access it whenever you need it.
That sounds awesome. I know I love to have things that you make in the energetic toolbox. That peace and release has been such a godsend over time. And for my students, I would love to be able to be like, Liquid Waterfall of Light, you totally need this.
It is really, really helpful. The peace and release is also a great thing. Again, I know we talk about it all the time, but that's a very simple, quick, easy way to help to cleanse and clear your energy as well. And if you play that and have the intention of having it clear away all the dross and releasing everything, that's a really simple, easy way to get good and clear.
I
And
love to
so,
lay in bed at night and stick my headphones in and have it on my phone and just let it go on repeat until I fall asleep.
nice. And there are a few other recordings on the website as well that do different kinds of things. I think there's a reset and reconnect one. There are a couple different things depending on what it is that you're trying to achieve that can be beneficial and also can help you kind of get to that space where you can visualize more easily because there's a lot of energetic support and help in there as well. So Jonathan Goldman, not the Jonathan Goldman that I talk about all the time, but Jonathan
Two
Goldman, the
Jonathan
sound
Goldmans?
healer. I know, isn't that crazy? There are two Jonathan Goldmans who are in the overall field of energy and healing. This Jonathan Goldman is probably the more well-known one and is more focused on sound healing. And he was studying all of the great masters at one point, like probably 40 years ago, was when sound healing was really in its infancy in the West. And in just a few little places was getting a little bit of medical attention for the effects that it had. And he was doing a lot of research and was looking at all of these different things. He had gotten all these notes from these spiritual masters all over the world who used sound for healing. And he was comparing them and he had this giant stack of things. And it was saying, okay, we use frequency A to do X, Y, and Z, and frequency B to do this, that, and the other. But then he would find that among the different ones, they each had a different thing that they said that the same frequency did. One would use it for clearing something and doing something, and then the other would be using it for filling. And he was looking at it going, how is this possible? They all have all these really strong documented benefits and effects, but they're saying this frequency does this and this frequency does that. And they're using the same frequency to do different things and having it actually do those things. And he heard this voice in his head that said, it is not only the frequency of the sound that creates its effect, it is also the intention of the person making and receiving the sound, which led him to this equation of intention plus frequency equals healing. And so I was thinking about this when we were talking about crystals too. If you research, you'll find that like they'll say the same crystal does 25 different things, and some of them may be very different. It's really the intention that we're putting into these, and then the frequency. So we're bringing in vibrational frequencies through sound. We're bringing them in through light and connecting with energy and all of that. And we bring that in the intention, and that equals healing. He also has another equation that he came up with later that was vocalization plus visualization equals manifestation. And so when we can visualize, even if it's not sound, but it's the energy that we're bringing in, when we can visualize that divine white light that we are surrounding ourselves in, when we visualize that, we are projecting our consciousness onto that vibration, and that has a lot of effect. I remember when people would talk about, oh, just visualize white light and it'll clean you off and stuff. I was thinking, yeah, like that's going to do it. Like I'm just going to imagine, but it is absolutely incredible the power of projecting our consciousness onto something and what that does. So I just wanted to bring those parts up. And then also, I know I talked about the perfect fifth, something that's easy if you want some kind of tool around to help you kind of quickly recenter and relax. You can get perfect fifth paired tuning forks. And so one will be one note and the other will be a fifth above that. And you'll bing bong them on something and hold them up to either side, one outside of one ear and one outside of the other, not right up close to it, but maybe a couple inches away. And that sound, there's all kinds of documented proof that hearing a perfect fifth, it does all kinds of amazing things. It releases nitric oxide in your body. There's a man named John Beaulieu, Dr. John Beaulieu, who talks about the fifth note has played an important role in ancient teachings. And he talks about that a little bit. And I'll read it just because I really love the bringing together all these different backgrounds. But he says, sounding the perfect fifth is a general sound tonic. Some of the healing benefits of the fifth are alleviates depression, enhances joint mobility, balances earth with spirit, directly stimulates nitric oxide release that is antibacterial, antiviral, and enhances the immune system, balances the heart, pituitary gland, and sphenoid bone, balances sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. And just the release of nitric oxide, it happens within 30 seconds, within the first 30 seconds of listening to a perfect fifth. And your heart rate slows, your breathing, everything starts to come into resonance. And it is really amazing. And it can be done very simply. We actually, as a Christmas present for Keith's clinic, for all of the techs and the people that worked there, we got a set of perfect fifth tuning forks, and then just this little like rubber thing that you knock them on to get them to go. And he said it was amazing. All throughout the day, you would hear this like bing bong, and it's very quiet, so it's easy to have in an office kind of setting because it's not loud enough that it's going to bother anybody. Because you're mostly only hearing it if it's within a foot or so of your ears. But that all day long, people would be bonging and then holding it and then just closing their eyes and breathing just for a minute or so. And it has absolutely incredibly profound effects.
Well, now I think everybody knows what to put on their holiday wish list.
Yeah, it is.
I want those tuning forks.
Yes, it is a great
Where do you
gift.
get them, Jen? Where would you...
I
just
personally,
order them
you can order them online. I personally love Sound Reed Instruments. That is the retail part of the Center for Sound Healing and Shamanic Practices that I study through. In fact, Zakaya Blackburn, who I mentioned earlier, who is where I learned the term dross, this is their company.
And Sound Reed as in R-E-E-D?
Oh, sorry, Sunreed, Sunreed. And actually, you know what? Let me look and make sure I have that exactly right, because they just changed. Yeah, and in fact, right now they're having a sale. So sunreed.com. And they have all kinds of wonderful sound healing instruments. And they have tuning forks and just all manner of beautiful, wonderful things. You can, if you want to more, you can get things like crystal bowls. We have the Empyrean bowls that are tuned to the perfect fifth, and just sitting and playing the two of those together is amazing. It will shift your energy and bring everything into balance in an incredible way. You don't have to get the most expensive versions, but it is going to be good to get it from somewhere who will specifically let you know exactly the tunings, because a lot of times they'll say, oh, well, this is a C bowl and this is a G bowl. But if you actually hold it up to a tuner, they're fairly off. And if they're off by more than, I think it's like 5 cents, which is just a measure of sound, then you're going to hear the difference. or 15 cents, especially. Like any more than that, and it's not actually going to create that perfect fifth experience for you. You do have the perfect fifth bowls in the Waterfall of Liquid Light experience in the back, and so you get that throughout that entire thing.
It's funny. Normally, I spend most of my notebook writing down paneled Samael stuff. I've literally just been taking notes of all of these things that I want to do. Just hearing you talk about all of these things, I'm like, oh, I know exactly how I'm going to spend the rest of my day. I have errands to run, but then I'm going to come back in the house and visualize that lovely space over the door where I'm leaving things behind, sitting in different rooms and saying to myself, what is my intention for this space? How do I want to feel when I'm in it? How do I want it to function? And making it all about intention. And even as I'm doing this, all these ideas of how things should sort themselves out that were stuck in my brain as unsolvable problems are starting to move. So I'm super excited to get to work. And if anyone who's listening would like to send us a message through our site or through our sites, I am at tavabear.com. And Jen, what are you at?
I am at willowridgereiki.com.
We would love to hear if you put any of these practices into use and how they were working for you and what sort of wonderful things you manifested with your intention. Everything is intention and vibration.
Yep. And one thing that I do want to point out is that we talked a lot about the clearing parts. When you clear, you want to also refill it consciously with what you want to be there. We don't want to leave a vacuum there. We don't want it to just fill back in with whatever happens to get sucked in. So, after you are clearing out your spaces and sometimes just opening the windows and getting a breeze through and just imagining and visualizing that it is blowing everything out and it is cleansing your space is wonderful. But you want to then state what you want in your space, either your physical space and your actual body energy field as well. And you can do that by, if it's the space that you're inhabiting, let's say your house, you can walk around with a candle and you say, may this light penetrate every part of this space and fill it with divine light and love. You can sing through it with the intention that your song is filling every space with divine light and love or divine love. You can set crystals around or those kinds of things, but you can also just sit and envision this brilliant ball of light that starts at the center of your house. And I keep using the word imagine. You're really visualizing because you are creating this with your consciousness. So you're seeing this ball of light expanding and expanding and expanding and getting larger and larger until it expands and fills the entire house and extends beyond the house and out into the space that it's sitting around. And then say something about, you kind of imagine like a bubble around that and holding that space there, something that's going to hold it that states, may only love penetrate. It's something relatively simple, or you can make it as elaborate as you like, but you want to do something to fill that space and hold it. And you can do the exact same thing with your physical body. You can envision this brilliant divine light from the center, maybe your heart center or your solar plexus, and see that expand and expand and expand until you're standing within this huge bubble of light. And then make some sort of statement that affirms that may only love penetrate, or something along the lines of what we were actually talking about in the last couple podcast episodes, of a statement of, I am surrounded by the divine light, only that which is in my highest good may enter, or something like that. Some sort of statement that claims that space. And we have definitely talked about in previous episodes the find my center. find my alignment with the planet, find my alignment with source and toning. We want to make sure that you're centered, that you're grounded. We've talked a lot about imagining being a tree and having the roots coming down, spreading out down through and into the earth, breathing in and out from your heart space. There's all kinds of wonderful things. And actually in the show notes, I'm going to put a link to what's called a quick coherence technique. And it's a little video that the Heart Math Institute has come up with to help to bring you into a state of coherence where you're just slowly, deeply breathing through your heart space and cultivating a feeling of gratitude or care or appreciation. And it could be just imagining a favorite place in nature, you have a pet, something that has absolutely no other types of conflicting feelings about it. Like it might not, you may not want to pick someone in your immediate family that also has some additional feelings, but just something, it could be just a tree or a space in nature, something that evokes this feeling of gratitude or love or care and appreciation. And just hold that and evoke that feeling while you breathe in and out of your heart space. But just making sure that we're leaving ourselves, once we're cleared, we're bringing in that which we're consciously choosing. I wanted to just read the little quote about the perfect fifth, because there's something about it that is just so beautiful to me. And then I was thinking for the ending song, I'm sitting here in the room with the perfect fifth pin bowls right behind me. I could do that with
Great.
that, and everybody gets to experience the perfect fifth as a part of it. So,
Oh my gosh, that would be incredible.
yeah,
Yes,
I thought that might
yes.
be a nice way for us to conclude this episode.
That's amazing.
So again, this is from his website, from Dr. John Beaulieu's website, which is www.biosonics.com. And we can put a link to that as well. There's an article called A Beginner's Guide to Sound Healing with Tune Forks. And he states that the fifth note has played an important role in ancient teachings. And this is a quote from it, which I just love. It says, "The Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu referred to the fifth as the sound of universal harmony between the forces of yin and yang. In India, the fifth is believed to create a sound through which Shiva calls Shakti to the dance of life. Apollo, the Greek god of music and healing, plucked the fifth on his sacred lyre to call dolphin messengers to Delphi, where they channeled messages to the oracles. The alchemists called the interval of the fifth crux ansata and considered it to be a transition point where matter crossed over into spirit. The crux ansata, also called the anak by the Egyptians, is a still point where the earth ends and our ascension into spirit begins. For them, the number 5 was numerologically the perfect combination of even, the number 2, and odd, 3, representing the unity of heaven and earth."
I love that so much. That's incredible.
I'll also add something called conscious humming. There's a short instructional video from Jonathan Goldman about conscious humming. It's very simple, and it's the protocol for conscious humming. And he has done an incredible amount of research in humming, and it does everything. It helps with stress levels, sleep, and blood pressure. It increases lymphatic circulation and melatonin production. It releases endorphins, creates new neural pathways in the brain, releases nitric oxide, which is a neurotransmitter fundamental for heart and health, or fundamental to health and well-being. So it's very simple, and we can attach a link to that as well where he can talk you through that. But it's a wonderful way to get balanced and centered.
Now I'm starting to realize why Samael's been humming very quietly in the car next to me for the last 2 weeks. He just said, "I was hoping you would join in." He doesn't explain things a lot, but he's been making a lot of music lately. I think especially since he sang with you last time.
Yeah, and the making of it yourself, listening to someone hum does not have the same effect as making the humming yourself, because in the making the humming, there's a vibroacoustic effect where the sound is going into your body and is affecting you on a cellular level and all the way down to a molecular and even DNA and atomic level in our bodies when we create this vibroacoustics where it's actually vibrating from within our bodies. So there's obviously the psychoacoustic, which is where we hear things and we receive all kinds of benefits, but there's a different effect that comes about when we create the sound ourselves. And by doing it through humming, because our mouth is closed, it's like creating like this resonance chamber within our bodies, and it's activating the vagus nerve, and that's what's then releasing the nitrous oxide or nitric oxide. And yeah, so absolutely join in with them, and you can watch the little video by Jonathan Goldman to get just a little bit, because there are a few little pointers that make the difference between just your traditional humming and this more conscious humming and getting all of the really good effects from it.
Oh my God. So cool. I'm so excited to do all of this.
Yay. And, you know, the most important thing for everybody is not to get overwhelmed by the sheer number of tools and things that were listed, but just pick something that sounds good, that feels good, that's like, I would enjoy doing that, because the tools that you will actually use are the most important ones. These are not, you know, hierarchical. There's no right or wrong to any of it. Just whatever you do, just bringing your consciousness to your energetic hygiene, that in itself is going to have an effect.
Thank you so much, Jen.
Absolutely. I'm amazed how quiet Samael has been. I'm like, I thought that he would have all sorts of things to say about this.
Well, I mean, I think part of it is I was so enthralled with what you were saying. I also may not have been listening quite as openly. All of this is so in line with what I need to do right now in terms of going through both my physical environment and my internal energy and letting things go and rearranging things for the new journey forward, that this is incredibly timely.
Oh,
And I'm
good.
very, very focused on what you were saying today. And he's been sitting here very quietly, cross-legged on the bed. And like I said, he hums every now and then. He just sits and observes, he listens. I also get the feeling he thought that what you had to say today was going to be very important for what he feels I should be doing. So
Well, good. I always, or I tend to at least have the feeling that if he disagrees with something, that he will let us know. If it needs to be corrected, he will let us know. If there's something that I'm saying that he's like, no, actually, that's not right, that he will let us know, which is
he
good.
just said, I can step aside for another teacher, Umshallah.
Well, I am very grateful that he thinks that what I have to say is worthy of being said.
Last night I was like, what does she mean by this? I don't even know really what this is. And then when you were like, oh, these are the practical things you can do. And once you started talking about it today, I was like, oh, this is exactly what I need. Like, this is exactly what I need. And there have been so many, even just like little puzzles in my head and puzzles in terms of my environment, that as you were talking, I was like, oh, could do this. Oh, I need to do this. And it's very exciting. I'm
Nice. And
very
honestly,
energized.
it is something that we all need. Like, I had spent so much time, I was up late last night trying to organize my thoughts to make sure that I was getting all the stuff. And then I was in such a frazzled place that I was like, I'm kind of a disaster. And I just finished spending all this time about energetic hygiene. So I went through a list. I was like, all right, I'm just going to start going down the list. And I felt like a completely different person within 5 minutes. I was like, yeah, I need to keep a list of this like up on the wall and just go, all right,
Yes.
nope, I need to do this one. I need to do this one, because we all need it. It's something that it's a continual thing. It's not like, oh, I brushed my teeth last week, I don't need to do that again.
Yeah. And
It's a continual thing.
And I think having a list is a really actually great idea. I used to know someone who was a therapist, and she would recommend to her clients who were battling anxiety and depression to keep a list on the refrigerator of things that made them happy and changed their mood. That watching a funny movie or going for a walk in nature, so that when they did get overwhelmed or sad and they didn't know what to do with themselves, they could always go back to the list and just start working their way down it. And having something like this on your refrigerator where you go, okay, I finally have a little time. I feel like I'm in an energetic disaster zone. What can I do? Let's go to the top of the list and just start working through, and it's going to change everything around me.
Yeah, we used to have lists like that of coping skills all over the house because our children needed those that continual support, and when they needed it right then and weren't able to think of it themselves. And so we had lists of coping skills, and whatever their most favorite ones were, they were in their bedroom and downstairs and in various places, so that there didn't have to be too much thought involved, because when you need them, you're not really in a place where you can think up, oh, I should, maybe I should be doing this. And I keep lists like that on my phone also, to where at any point it's like, that's it, look at the list. Okay, I need to do this, I need to do that. And so yeah, I highly recommend that. In terms of sound and clearing, using bells are really good ways of clearing spaces. The sound of a bell seems to be very, very clarifying for a space. So you can get a bell that you really love the sound of and walk through your house ringing the bell and intending that you are clearing out all that is not love and light, or however you want to do it. But bells or Tibetan bowls, you can ring the bowls where you just hit the side of them and
Mhm.
it creates that ringing kind of sound. Bowls and bells are a wonderful way to clear a space.
I think there's definitely a part three here coming on down the line. And some of these tools, like I would love to learn more about the gong.
Yeah, really good at clearing energy. Holy
Yeah,
moly, like knock you down clearing the energy.
it's putting a lot
I was
more
to
on you
say,
because you're the musician.
the music, that's the easy part. Like that's really easy. I didn't cover like aromatherapy or dance and moving like your hips in clockwise motions and things, as far as refilling and raising and moving the energy through your body.
We'll have to do another episode on those. And now, let's settle in to listen to Jen on the crystal bowls with their perfect fifths.
Would you mind just stating again so I make sure I have it when I edit the name of what the bowls you were playing?
Yeah, so this is a set of tuned Empyrean bowls. So they are made of a very pure quartz crystal and shaped into bowls and then tuned to be within 5 cents of each other in a perfect fifth.
I would like you to play those and sing for eternity, if possible. I felt like all of the structure holding me up inside just started to turn to sand. And Samael started laughing. And he goes, "This is when the spine crumbles, Umshallah. The path home awaits the sound, the vibration of the soul."
Oh, nice.
May I hear you singing and playing those bowls at my final moments on this earth. So I will have lived well.
Absolutely. I should make another um, recording of pretty much that and put it on the website to
Oh,
where people
yes,
can just use
please.
that to help to release all those things and get all the wonderful benefits of the perfect fifth.
We're talking about creating all of these interior and exterior spaces. I've been making little notes as you've been talking about things that bring me peace internally when they are external. And, music is one of them. And man, how wonderful to dive into creating a space by bookending it with sounds like that. Here I am. I'm not just sweeping the floor and vacuuming and putting away the laundry. I am creating my habitat with intention. I'm preparing the environment for my soul to inhabit in a body here. And that was really, really beautiful.
Well, thank you. I'm so glad that it came through well and you benefited from it.
I learned a lot today, and I can't wait to continue the conversation and continue learning.
I am always excited for this opportunity to learn and grow together and to share with this amazing community.
And I just feel so energized, but also centered, and I am ready to tackle this house. And so, those of you at home who are getting ready for Thanksgiving, and maybe you have people coming over to bring their energies into your abode, creating space around what you want that gathering to bring and putting that intention in it should help it. On this week of Thanksgiving, we are so, so grateful for all of you.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, I think that about wraps it up as Jen gets to go start packing for her journey, and I'll start packing and unpacking my stuff for my journey, whether they are physical journeys or spiritual ones.
Absolutely. So be blessed and well and keep up with your energetic hygiene.
Absolutely. Get out that energetic toothbrush. Go to work.
All right. It was funny. I invited Samael as an invocation when I was starting to do the bowls to sing with me and help to bring in this space. And I felt like he said something along the lines of, I was capable of doing that, that it was good. It was okay for me to sing with my voice also and bring that through. And I was like, I wonder if I got that right or not, but
No,
it
it
was
sounds,
interesting.
I mean, you sing and I love it all the time, but your voice with those bowls, I am not kidding around or just saying something cute for a podcast when I say, in my final moments on earth, that is what I want to hear. Like that right there, that really felt like the sound of coming home to me. With If he wasn't in that process in some way, I don't think it would have felt that way because wherever he is where I want to go. I seriously just want to lay in a room with you singing with those bowls. It just made my soul so, so happy.
It's interesting. I had thought at some point, and I think with all the Alzheimer's things and the talk, that it would be good to create something like that, like a track for people to be able to listen to in the process of passing or letting go. And
Yes.
maybe it should be the
Oh,
bowls and
he is
singing.
very enthusiastic about this. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I was thinking about it too as you were doing it. I just got this flash of, can you imagine if something that soothing was being played like in the building in hospice care? Like
Yeah.
it where it's in the hallways, and that energy was allowed to both assist the caregivers in going and assist families with transition and assist the dying with moving on.
Yeah. And boy, Samael would be wonderful to collaborate
Yes.
on that and with
Yes.
helping, because I think it makes sense that having something that helps them to feel that there's good on the other side and I can let go and
Yes.
brings them into that place could help them to be in that coherent, centered, balanced place where they can also access that part of their soul and get more clarity and
Yes.
be able to then make that journey. I'd written music for sacred passing.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And can you imagine if you had some of that on your site where people who had people in their families who were dealing with this, and families could they could play it. They could take it into hospice care when they visited, or take it into a hospital and put it on their phone to let it not only help ease the passage of the person undergoing the journey, but ease the passage of those behind with letting go.
Yeah.
It's so needed. It's so needed. You have a very enthusiastic film here.
Oh, yeah.
Very enthusiastic. Yeah.
I would love to hear whatever he has to say about that. I think this would be a wonderful thing. Yeah, as I started talking about it, my whole back started like massively vibrating, and I got like probably the biggest angel rush chill up the back of me that I've had maybe ever. I mean, my whole body was like, ugh. I was like, okay.
Well, the seraphim is literally sitting here saying, do whatever you can to aid her. Because, I'm supposed to be learning a lot from the dead. And she says to ease the passage is a holy thing.
Yeah, I think this is, and you know what would it do to play that in the house, in the inn?
In the haunted tavern, it says to aid the incarnated in remembering. Wow. Yeah. Okay, new project. Here we go.
Yep, absolutely.
And I mean, I'm just thinking of
All right.
all the people who could really use this, who have someone going through these things.
Yeah,
It would be incredible.
yeah.
Oh,
And gosh, that recent connection to the Alzheimer's and dementia group,
yes,
I feel like
yes.
so much of that is their soul not being able to quite process their incarnation and having this hard time of doing their energetic work on an inner plane that then keeps them from being able to really be conscious in their incarnation at the same time. And
Yes.
maybe
Samael
something in
says
this type of music.
would help them. Because they live in more than one time and more than one world. They are crossing, and it frightens them and those around them. So, yes, yes, having music like that thing in all of these transitions, that would be huge
Yeah. Yeah. So
and something very concrete we could do.
yeah, definitely. All right. Well, it's all these exciting things always come up right before I'm about to leave to go do something else. And so I'm like, I have to find a way of being able to step back into this space.
Yeah.
I have great faith that we'll find our way back to it. Have a safe and happy holiday, everyone, and until next time, restore that energetic balance whenever you can.